and welcome to Halesworth United Reformed Church Messy Church. And today we're going to start off with a little game. If you've got my pack, you'll have a little slip of paper with a word on it. Now that word is an occupation, a job that somebody does, and we're going to try acting out those jobs to see if somebody else could guess. So if you've got one at home, you could perhaps act it out for somebody else. But right now, Luke is going to act out the one we've got on our paper here. And we're going to see if we can guess what he is doing. Okay, let's put that down a bit so we can see. Here we go. Right, off you go, Luca. Oh, a bit of a kick. We're doing some gymnastics. Oh, a bit of a... I know, are you a footballer? Yes, right. So the first one was a footballer. Well done if you got that. Have you got another one that you can do for us? Oh, we got a bit of surfboarding maybe? No. Are you pulling a rope? No. Is it a hose that you're holding? Are you a firefighter? Yes. Well done. Well done if you guessed firefighter today. Well, there are lots of jobs we could have acted out, and hopefully you've thought of a few that you could act out at home for one another. Today's story is about some men who had an important job at the time, and they were fishermen. Because we've been telling the story of when Jesus was born, but Jesus, obviously, like you, like me, grew up, he didn't stay a baby, and he became a man. And so here we have Jesus as a man. And one day, Jesus was walking along by a lake, and he came to two men. And these men were called James. No, they were not. They were called Peter and Andrew. Peter and Andrew were brothers, and they were fishermen. And so when Jesus saw them, he asked if he could go in their boat with them. And so Peter and Andrew got their boat, and they all got in. They let Jesus get into the boat first over there. And then Peter and Andrew got into the boat too. And they went out to the middle of the lake so that they could be a little bit away from the shore, so that Jesus could talk to all the people that were nearby, and he would teach them about God and about the way that people should live. And as they were there, Jesus said to Peter and Andrew, "Put your net on the other side so we can catch some fish." And Peter and Andrew said, "But we were fishing all night long and we didn't catch any fish. There are no fish in this lake. We are the fishermen. It's our job. We know there's no fish here at the moment. It's just not going to work." And Jesus said, "Put your net over the other side of the boat." And so they got the net. They thought, well, we haven't got anything to lose. And they put it over to the other side of the boat. And very soon they felt a tugging on the nets. And I don't know if you've seen a fish when it's alive and you've caught it and it's out of water, but fish will wobble around, don't they, everywhere? They're quite slimy and slippery and all. When this net was so full of fish that it must have been wobbling all over the place. And so when they pulled it, they found there was just lots and lots and lots and lots of fish. They couldn't believe what had happened. And Jesus said to Peter and Andrew, "I want you to follow me." And so Peter and Andrew took all the fish back to the shore, and they left their boats, and off they went and followed Jesus. But as they were walking along the shore, they came along and found some other fishermen. They were called James and John, and their father was called Zebedee. And Jesus said to James and John, "Come, follow me." Now James and John had seen what had happened with the fish, and they saw how amazing it was, what God had done to the empty net to become full. And so James and John, they left Zebedee, their father, and their fishing nets and their fishing boats and their families, and they came along too, and they too followed Jesus. Now, these were the first 4 special friends that Jesus called. So Jesus called Peter and Andrew and James and John. These were the first 4.
Again?
There was 12. Well, next week you might find the answer to that question, because next week we'll be thinking about the other disciples, special friends that Jesus
thought he was
called.
in the first 4.
No, the first 4, Peter and Andrew and James and John. Now, Peter and Andrew and James and John, they did something, well, very, very difficult. They left everything they had to follow Jesus. So, I think, although they might have been excited to follow Jesus, they probably were a bit worried as well. What do you think they might have been worried about? They've just left everything behind to follow Jesus. What might they be worried about? What might they be thinking about? Oh, what's going to happen about this? I don't know how that's going to work out. Oh, I don't know about this. Well, I asked the children a bit earlier on our Messy Church on Zoom what they thought they might be worried about. And they gave me all sorts of great answers. They said they might be worried about food. What are they going to eat today? They might be worried about where they're going to get a drink from. They might be worried about what they're going to wear. Are they going to have to stay in the same clothes? That's going to be a bit stinky. What about all their stuff that they own? Are they going to have any more stuff? What about their family? Well, they've left them behind, so they might be a bit worried about what's going to happen to their family. Will they see them again? And they might be worried about how they're going to keep clean. And what I was worried about was, where am I going to sleep tonight? I love having a nice, comfortable bed. If we walk off following Jesus, they might have been really worried about all those things. Now, they might have been worried about those things then, but we worry about things today as well, don't we? And some of those things might be things that you worry about. But particularly at the moment with the coronavirus, there's lots of things that people are worrying about. And we talked about that as well. And so we talked about, you might be worried about being poorly. We might be worried about, how long is this going to last? When will we see our friends? How are we going to do our schoolwork? There's so many things to be worried about. And so is our prayers today. You've got some little fish in your pack. And we're going to give those things to God. The things that we're worried about, we're going to write on these fish and give it to God. And so you can write anything you'd like to on those fish, something you're worried about, or something that you want to say thank you to God for. Okay? So just in the quiet, just have a little think about the things that you want to pray about today. Maybe you are thankful that you've got food, and like the disciples didn't know where their food was going to come from. Maybe you want to thank God because you've got plenty of food in your house. Maybe you want to thank God because your schooling has gone well this week and you've been able to work really hard. Or maybe you're worried about your schoolwork and worried about your school friends and not seeing your teachers. So write those things on the fish and then put them in to your net or tuck them into your net. So I've written, God, I pray for the schools. I pray particularly for my children and the children that I know, that you would help them with their schoolwork. I pray for my family at this time, that you would protect them and keep them safe. And I pray for people who've got the coronavirus, that you would bring healing across our world, but also that you would protect other people from catching it too. And so, Jesus, we thank you that you hear all our prayers and we give these things to you. In Jesus' name, Amen. Now, it does say in the Bible, a verse in Psalm 55, this is a Message version, it says, pile your troubles on God's shoulders, he'll carry your load, he'll help you out. Now, isn't that brilliant? So all these worries, all these things that we're concerned about, all our troubles, we can give them to God and he will help us out and he will be with us when we are worried. So don't forget that during this week when you are worried. we can give all those worries to God. Okay, now for our activity today, we've got some fish like this. Got a green one or an orange one. And you should have some thread and a needle, hopefully from some time in the past when we've done some sewing. And you can use the thread to decorate your fish however you like. You can go in and out all around the edge and make him nice and beautiful, so he's just decorated around the edge if you like. Or you can go up and down and make him stripy. Luca decided he wanted a crazy fish, so his fish has got lines all over the place to make him nice and decorated like that, okay? So you can decorate your fish however you like with the thread and make the patterns go all over the place, okay? While you're doing that, we're going to remember that God can do anything. Brilliant song by Doug Hawley. It reminds us, just like he was able to make all those fish appear for the fishermen, that he can help us and do anything at all, and he can take those worries away and help us in the difficult times. God can do anything, anything at all. God can do anything, anything at all. Nothing is too big for him and nothing is too small. God can do anything, anything at all. Don't put him in a box, don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do. Don't put him in a box, don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do. God can do anything, anything at all. God can do anything, anything at all. Nothing is too big for him and nothing is too small. Nothing's too big for him and nothing is too small. Don't put him in a box, don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do. Don't put him in a box, don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do. So, don't limit what God can do. The fishermen tried to because they thought there were no fish, and Jesus did a miracle. It wasn't the first miracle he did, but he did a miracle and all those fish appeared. Now, if you have got my pack, you will have a pack of fish and chips. So if you haven't already, you can enjoy those to remember the story as well from today. And next week, as I said, we will think about the next friends that Jesus called. So I hope you have a good week. Enjoy making your fish, and I look forward to seeing the photos of some of them as you send them to me. Have a good week. Bye.